grateful. Okay, so we're gonna start in a bit of a supported Shavasana, a supported back bend, but not with the bolster. I wanna use the blankets. So 2 blankets. With the bigger blanket, or one of the blankets, I want it to be bigger and then do a tri-fold so it's like a low bolster. So you'll tri-fold it, and then this could probably be long enough for your head, so you can fold it in half right here, or not fold it in half, but fold it at the end to support as a pillow. Or you can just take the other blanket and put it towards the top for a pillow. And then just lie down. I always loved being at classes where, not restorative classes even, but just a regular yoga class that I took a long time ago. The teacher always started in Shavasana, and I always loved that. So begin to sink in. Begin to notice the breath. Do a body scan from the top of the head all the way down to the toes to be sure that you're beginning to release and let go of the muscles. Feel your inhalations begin to maybe get deeper. And now allow your exhalations to start to become longer. So you can kind of, as we begin this class, you can rein or lasso the brain in by paying attention to the breath, of course, because the brain can't think about things and focus on the breath at the same time. Or if you start to move away from the awareness of the breath, if you do see or feel the thoughts or notice the thoughts coming and going, focus on the emptiness in between the thoughts. Begin to train the brain to get used to the stillness. Begin to surrender to gravity. As you inhale, feel the back of the body and the parts that are touching the mat. After another breath or two, you can slowly bend the knees. And then roll onto your right side. Keep the body heavy as you slowly press up. And with minimal movement, let's take a bolster, put it at the end of the mat. Let's open up our trifold. We're going to come into supine position. So we just want to protect the hips. And then unfold the blanket, put it at the top of the mat, the second blanket. Lower yourself and have the feet supported by the bolster. Stack your hands and you can have your forehead on your hands so the face is down. If that's uncomfortable, you can lie on the right or the left cheek. And try to fall back into that place of surrender after just a breath or two. Find the steady rhythm of the breath that we began with. Feel the support beneath you. And trust that support enough to completely let go. Bring your awareness to the top of the head. And slowly do a body scan all the way down to the feet, just to see where you might be holding on or gripping. See if you can go a little bit deeper. The hips, the ankles. And then bring your awareness back to the inhale and the exhale. We want to come out of this posture slowly. So begin by pushing the bolster away with your feet. And then bring your hands, palms to the floor, to very slowly and gently bring yourself to hands and knees. Taking a stretch back in child's pose if you'd like, or just coming to a seated position and preparing for the next posture. So we're going to move into the twists here. You're going to need, keep the blankets on the mat, bolster, and block. So have the block at the medium height and then put your bolster on it. Make sure that it's secure. It's not too far forward or too far back. We just need room for the arms. So we're going to do the twist that we would normally do coming down onto the bolster, but we're going to do it and rest our forearms underneath. So take your right hip up to the bolster. And then hands on either side of the bolster, you're going to begin to rotate to the right and try to get the center of the chest on the bolster as much as possible. Adjust the knees where you need to, and then grab your elbows underneath the bolster. So typically, and I think for you specifically, Barbara, you would be looking in the right direction because you have that mobility. But for this, you might want to have your face in the direction of the left side of the mat. So just decide what's more comfortable. With the height, it might be more comfortable to look off to the left. Good. And this just gives us an extra level of rest when we can just kind of let the arms go. And as we begin to twist, I really, think about the self-care that you're giving your body right now and picture that nurturing, hydrating the spinal discs, realigning the spine, all of those good things that we get if we allow ourselves to take what this pose can give us, the massaging of the organs. Can we surrender and feel supported? Bring your awareness to the lower spine. And even though you feel or may feel as if you are completely released, see if you can consciously let go on a deeper level around the lower back and the spine. Exhale and let go deeper. Notice your hands and your arms touching the floor. Feel the legs touching the floor. And after another breath or two, bring the palms to the mat and slowly press back up, coming to a seated position, and very slowly just moving into the same pose on the other side. Left hip up to the bolster. Minimal movement, keeping track of the breath. And then begin to surrender. In the Yoga Sutras, it tells us withdrawing the senses, mind, and consciousness from contact with external objects, and then drawing them inwards towards the seer is pratyahara. So we go from this physical posture and then move on to the second half of the practice, which is turning inward. Again, if the mind is busy, focus on the empty spaces between the thoughts and consciously let go. Bring your awareness to your hands and arms touching the floor. Your legs touching the floor. And then come back to the natural rhythm of the breath. Move out of this twist slowly by first bringing the palms to the floor and very slowly pressing up when you feel ready. Grab both of your bolsters and put them at the end of your mat. And then both of your blankets are going to be folded, not all the way, but most of the way, because these are going to support your arms. So put both of the blankets folded where your arms are going to be, a block where your head is going to be, unless you have another pillow. A pillow would be, or I'm sorry, another blanket, that would be softer, but a block will be just fine too. When you have that ready, you're going to have the bolsters at an angle so we can have our knees hanging out to the sides to open the hips, but not in total Baddha Konasana tonight. Just more of a relaxed hip opener. So you'll just be resting your legs on the bolsters, arms on the blankets, and head on the block. Be sure that your chin is a little bit lower than the forehead to release the neck muscles, but also to have more of an introspective gesture. Do a body scan beginning with the head all the way down through the feet and see where you might be gripping. If you feel your hips are as open as they can be, make a conscious effort to let go at a deeper level. Don't force any breath. Notice at this point how slow the breath is moving. And just observe it come and go. It's almost as if the breath is breathing you, and you're just there to observe. Come back to the breath. Keep your awareness on the mat. And after another breath or two, bring the hands to the legs to support the legs coming back together. So we're going to come into Shavasana here. So there isn't much more you need as far as props. If you would like to roll onto your side and set up the way that you would like for a supported Shavasana under the knees, you can do that. If you want to keep the blankets by the arms, you can do that. When you're ready and settled, close the eyes. We've been talking about action this week. And right now, your only action is to see if you can have a sustained attention to the breath. Coming into the dharana, the single pointed focus of training the brain to have a sustained attention on one thing. And in our Shavasana, we observe. So cultivate that sustained awareness and observation on the breath. Soften all the muscles in the face, shoulders, arms, and out through the fingers. Allow the ribs to soften and the pelvis to be heavy. Thigh bones sinking to the back of the legs. And a complete release all the way out through the toes. And back to observe the breath. I was like, there's somebody walking in her house right now. Oh my God. Okay, we're good. Back to the breath. Begin to deepen your inhalations and elongating your exhalations. Taking 3 very slow, very deep, very full breaths. Even separating the lips and exhaling. You can begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes very gently, very slowly. And then begin to rotate the ankles and the wrists. And what you do next is entirely up to you, but without bringing too much thought into it. Try to just notice what the body needs and do it. When you're ready, bend the knees one at a time, and then roll onto your right side. Use your arm as a pillow and rest in the fetal position. We'll take a few more breaths here, using this as an opportunity to let go of any leftover stress or tension in the body, but also to tell yourself that the way that you feel right now and in this restorative practice, you can cultivate that at any moment throughout the day and feel it. Feel the way that you do right now, just by returning to that breath. Very slowly and mindfully begin to press yourself up to a seated position. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. Thank you for letting me guide you today. The teacher in me honors and appreciates the teacher in you. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're on mute, so I can't hear you, but I am very curious as to what happened.